That's a bit better. Okay. Hi. So always interested to hear backstories of all this kind of stuff. And my, most of my videos I've shared a bit about my mental health, well-being, etc. I think the big thing for me personally is that soil kind of saved me as from my mental health, and it's you obviously smiled about because you probably understand that. Soil for me was a reset. I think that was the best way to describe it. So Agrisan gave me the opportunity to maybe not think about the bigger picture, but not think too much in detail. And for me, that's quite an important thing. So you wanted to share some bits, obviously, about your journey. So firstly, obviously, getting to this point. I mean, you've obviously had some life before that. Do you want to talk about a little bit about that journey?
So for me, there's two identification points in my life that got me here. I'm going to go with the second one first. So I was the classic, very mentally unwell teenager that was really struggling. I was put on antidepressants as a 13-year-old, which when I look at 13-year-olds now, I'm like, that is far too young to be medicated like that. And when I kind of look back at that, it was kind of like the system really failed me there. And I had no idea who I was and what I wanted to do. And I was witnessing all my friends through school be like, I'm going to go to uni and do all this amazing stuff. And I was like, I have no idea, like, what is going on. So I just worked my ass off and saved up to go traveling. And through traveling, I was learning a lot about myself, and I ended up having this experience where I found myself attracted to plants. And this was the first time in my life where I was finding myself really curious about the plant life around me and the landscape around me. And it felt really homely, and I couldn't quite identify why. Why was I feeling so attracted to this? So I found this Hare Krishna community and lived with them for a while. And what made me attracted to them was they were offering permaculture courses and syntropic farming courses. And I didn't know what any of those meant. But in my head, I was like, I'm on a plant journey and I need to try and explore this. And had no idea that going there would be all this stuff on self-development and mental health. So for the experience to live at the Hare Krishna community, you have to do seva, which is selfless acts of service. So my seva was work in the gardens, which I was like, perfect. So I was learning how to grow. I was sowing seeds, understanding the landscape, what it is I was supposed to be doing, all the way to harvesting and taking the food up to the temple. The temple would cook it and offer their doors open to anyone in the public to come and have a free meal. And then we would sing to it, and it was just this really beautiful experience. But I knew I was like super unwell. I have complex PTSD, and working the land just helped that. I felt so soothed and held by the landscape. And I remember the first time I found, and this definitely was like a real starting point, as I came across a podcast where it was Elaine Ingham talking about the soul food web. And this was over 10 years ago now. And I was like, whoa, what am I hearing here? Like, this is unbelievable and this is magic. And I had this feeling of, whilst I was healing the land, I was healing myself. And because I was healing myself, I was then healing the land. And it was so beautiful. And I would have stayed there forever if my visa hadn't expired. Like, it was amazing.
So where was this, sorry?
Sorry?
Where was this?
Australia, this little village called Murwillumbah, so the east coast. What's amazing, which is going to sound so cringe. Have you ever seen the film Fern Gully?
Yes.
So,
no.
So, whilst I was at this Hare Krishna community, we were underneath a mountain called Mount Warning.
Okay.
And I was always like, there's fairies here. Like, I could really feel the fairies. And now I'm kind of like, this fairies it was microorganisms. But when I moved to Hay-on-Wye, I was staying with a friend, and she'd never seen Fern Gully. And I was like, it reminds me so much of the Hare Krishna village. Opening scene, Mount Warning.
Oh,
it was the same place.
I was like, oh
my god, the fairies! Which is microbiology, guys. Like, absolutely is.
It's funny you should say about like the energy side of it. So as we're both part of the same group of mycelium network, and I've definitely related myself to a lot of people in that group. Obviously, the earth has been the catalyst for all of us, but I honestly believe energy will bring energy, and for people, sometimes you listen to these these videos and you go, that sounds a bit hippie, but we know in science that energy is everywhere. We just don't understand how it transforms into one or the other. And I feel that your journey through that process was actually, it was more about being aware because you had time to be aware. And I think that's a key thing, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a massive privilege as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, whilst I was confused and mentally really unwell, like, it was a privilege to be able to save up enough money to go traveling and have that time and space. And whilst it was really hard, and I like grafted throughout my whole traveling experience, like I was working in so many different places, like it did give me time to be still enough to really understand what was going on. And then moving here, I had this love for soil and landscape, and I was so excited to integrate what I'd learned in Australia into a Welsh climate. So I had growing jobs, and during lockdown I lost this growing job and decided I would just try and make a living out of my hobby, which was ceramics. So all my wares were plastered of it was folk stories of the land. It was the relationship people had to the land. So my clientele, my customers, were all people that had that same relationship. So the people that would buy my art were gardeners, they were growers, they were people who loved the soil. And that was amazing. So then when this all started, I was like, oh my god, finally, like a real practical way to show this appreciation and show this love. And simultaneously, I ended up doing a degree alongside the birth of Compost Club. And for me, the degree was about how to integrate my ceramics into something that was more sustainable. And I ended up making biomaterials out of non-native invasive plant species, Himalayan balsam, and it manifested into this urn, which was this representation of death and being so close to things decaying. Like through Compost Club, we're witnessing the decaying of materials and then the rebirth of it as well. So making these urns, which also signified, they were based on Neolithic pottery, and that was to signify that we learn so much about ourselves through what we unearth, and in the Anthropocene we should not be leaving a trace. And in hundreds of years' times we're going to be unearthing the ground and it's going to be full of plastic. And so I kind of made these urns for that. But the making of these urns also made me realize the reason I really did fall in love with the landscape, which was such an aha moment for me, was and it was so funny because when I was traveling and suddenly started feeling the relationship to the land, I couldn't figure out why, because like I don't have a background in this stuff, like my family aren't interested in this stuff. I was like, why is that there? And I'd realized that my mum died when I was 6, and my dad was quite abusive, and my sisters, we all got separated, and we lived on a farm at that time. And I grieved the loss of my mother as a 6-year-old by walking the fens, walking the landscape. And I knew every corner and every stream and every plant as a 6-year-old had that relationship. And I feel like the landscape became mother. And I know that sounds so cliche and hippie, but it replaced that motherly figure for me in a really comforting way. So now I'm kind of like, oh, no wonder. And then I found out I was born on National Soil Day, and now I'm like, oh,
brilliant.
5th of December, of course.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot on earthing and energy. So we sell ceramics, which I have spoken to you about. You and I really want to learn a bit more about it. But
I'm fascinated.
It's for me. You talk about clay. So we use clay for our microorganisms to be baked into that clay for resonance, to give more frequency to it. So actually, probably what you're doing without even knowing it is your energy is actually being incorporated in that clay without you even knowing it. And then when you're giving it to other people, they're probably having that resonance then back as well. So yeah, it's cool that you found that basis of understanding of we come from the earth. And actually, it sounds, and some of our viewers will probably go, oh, this sounds really hippie and etc. But actually, what I've noticed myself for my arthritis, just standing in the garden on some grass, as long as it's soil, it's amazing how I feel afterwards. And if it's a placebo effect, brilliant. I don't
then
care.
it works. Yeah.
So you said that was your second kind of opening moment. What was your first?
No, the death of my mother was
Okay.
the first, which I find so fascinating because I had no idea all this time. It took 30 years. It took opening Compost Club and then doing my degree, and the degree manifesting into materials being recycled into something more valuable. I ended up making an urn signifying death, to then realizing that when my mother died, the only thing that helped me grieve was the landscape.
Yeah.
Was putting my hands in the grass and putting my hands in the stream. And I'm like, oh my God, as a 6-year-old, that relationship was so pivotal to where I am now. Like, I think if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have ended up at the Hare Krishna community. I wouldn't have been curious. I wouldn't be making work about the soil. I would never have listened to Elaine Ingham's podcast. And that's just started this whole thing. So it feels really, yeah, it's interesting. We're not just a couple of gals that have jumped onto a bandwagon that's gone like, oh yeah, we're just bin men. Like, that's as far as it goes. Like, it is such a deep relationship. And through my degree, I learned a lot about material theory. So putting material theory and an artistic framework onto soil is beautiful. We're able to kind of talk to people on a more personal level. It's not just science, living soil. It's an emotional relationship that people are understanding, which
So
is nice.
your volunteers, I mean, I'm going to ask you to talk on their behalf, but you obviously seen them grow as well, because there is definitely some diversification with your volunteers. Have you found that they've been more, I'm going to say content, but I don't know if that's the right word really, more grounded is probably the best way in this process?
Yeah, there's definitely an element of purpose as well. Like, some of our volunteers are disabled and can't work, but want to be doing something. And this is kind of giving them the space and time to be doing something, whilst also learning about something that's like so cool. And yeah, it's amazing. And our volunteer Leaf is so committed. I mean, he's here every week, and he'll send me messages brainstorming how to develop the business. He'll go around the community with the perforated cardboard and be like, are you interested? Let's do this. So seeing volunteers that like wanted to kind of have something that they couldn't really find before is, oh my God, it's absolutely beautiful. Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, I come from a blue chip company background, and people that are probably watching this videos are ex-colleagues of mine, and they see me and go, oh my God, he looks like a bloody hippie. Not so much of a haircut though. It was a lot longer. But I feel that now I have more understanding about my purpose. And I'm really open, obviously the mental health conversation on previous videos, I've been very open with it. I actually ended up landscape gardening for 6 months after trying to do my teaching degree. And it was really hard that I was trying to become a teacher to do the right thing. Felt like I needed to give back to society, but unfortunately, and this is just a general blanket statement, we are very disconnected from that school relationship, and obviously for the future. And I feel that mental health has more of a limelight, yes, and I appreciate probably social media has definitely helped, and also, it hasn't helped in respects of that. But I feel that we just need to really think about like how we reset ourselves. So if you're going to give someone some advice, obviously we're not saying that start a compost club. You know how stressful it was. Not for everyone. But if you were trying to give someone some advice in respects to that mental health thing, you obviously appreciate that the pills didn't work. And from someone that has been on antidepressants myself, I feel that it's just suppressing what you need to process.
Yeah.
So that soil relationship, how do you feel like, someone in an urban environment, maybe watching this in a place like London, etc. What advice would you give them to try and find that grounding for them?
Oh, could put your head in a bush.
I mean, yeah.
Sniff the ground, sniff it. I mean, like, I'm sure a lot of your audience knows that there's a type of bacteria in the soil that stimulates the serotonin in your brain, and I'm like, that is it. Like, the compost outside, like every time I'm up here, it's have a sniff. I'm always encouraging our volunteers to just put your hands in as well. With urban environments, like, it is finding your closest green space and just lying in it and breathing in it.
Oh, I saw the other day, I'm just going to tell you this while I remember it. Alex from Generation Soil. I don't know if you know him in Bristol. He's just started doing some compost club. New video coming soon. Just plug that one as well. But I saw Alex actually having a little bath in his compost.
I think I saw his video. Yeah, I was like, oh my god,
and
amazing.
I really like that. I think it's a really good idea.
It's so good.
And funny enough, again, algorithms. I then saw that there is a place in Ireland who does earthing compost bays.
Oh
so
my god, amazing.
you can align the compost. Obviously, that a correlation with microorganisms, etc.
Yeah.
So it's like having a sauna, but in compost.
Yes.
Coming soon.
Yes. Oh my god. It's so interesting. So many people in the community and even my family are like, oh, so how much are you making of Compost Club now? Like, you must be making quite a bit of money. And I'm like, no, I don't make a thing. Like, Daisy and I sometimes pay ourselves if we sell like a big bit of compost. We'll be like, the business is fine for money. Should we take that so we can like feed ourselves, you know? And they're like, wow, well done for still doing it. And they're a bit like, they're a bit weird that we're still doing it. And it's like,
but it's not just to do that, is it?
No, I'm like,
it's your own, your mental health, etc. It's the whole circle.
Yeah.
And I come from blue chip companies, and consumerism, and I still believe this now, unfortunately. This is one of the reasons why I don't do my £60,000 a year job, is because I just felt that every time something new came out, you're just trying to get people to buy it. And my phone is about 4 years old now. It's probably overheating a little bit while we're recording this, but hey, it's fine.
Same.
It's fine. But I think we've just gone into a society where this more is more, etc. And what I like about what you're thinking about is not just obviously creating something for the community, something for your mental health, but also something for the future. And I think we've forgotten about that actually there will be generations after us. I mean, we've done enough bloody damage as it is. Let's try and reset it. But I really want to talk about like your growing up and stuff, and obviously around the field, because that really resonated with me. And actually it's weird because when you have these conversations and you think about your own life, etc. I used to do the same. I used to live on a farm, and I won't go too much into detail with my family, but my mum was a hoarder. She loved cat company, more than human company, obviously for reasons that I won't go into. My dad was an alcoholic, womanizer. He wasn't a very nice person, unfortunately. And I always used to find myself, sat in the field on my own, before there was any kind of social media or anything like that, to tell everyone I was doing it. But I did find that and it's interesting that you look at your those resets, and obviously I never used to tell my friends or anything like that what we do. But I did find a lot of peace. I used to live in Dartmoor. I used to do a lot of river swimming and stuff like that, just because again it was that quietness more than anything else. But interesting to hear kind of your process with obviously being antidepressants at 13 is quite a big thing. Was it something that was driven by your parents, or?
No, this is a really dark story, but I went to the doctors because my dad was abusing me and I didn't know what to do. And social services didn't give a crap. Went to the doctors to be like, help me. Like, this is what's happening at home and I'm scared. And they were like, here's some antidepressants. And I'm like, that is, oh my God, so failed by the system. Like, I used to go into school, like, covered in bruises, and the teachers would look away. You could see them deliberately not paying attention.
From someone that's done the schooling, and obviously for child safety, etc., there is more red tape with that than there is in anything else, because as a teacher, you're not actually supposed to get involved in it anyway. You're supposed to report, but the paperwork that's involved in it, sorry, I do appreciate that they're looking after themselves as well. It can obviously help you. But it's interesting to see, is that take a pill kind of mentality, isn't it?
And everything will be okay.
Everything will be all right.
And I mean, I'm not doubting that kind of medication as well. Sometimes it's really...
Can help in small moderations for a period of time, etc. Yes, I 100%.
Yeah, like it's definitely beneficial to some people. And for me, maybe it also did help a little bit. But I mean, it meant that I spent a lot of my teenage years just completely dissociated from everything and not being able to experience the joyful things around me, and also
being a child.
And then eventually losing that relationship with the landscape too, because I wasn't feeling anything. Like, it suppressed the bad feelings, but it also suppressed the good feelings. Like, I was numb, and it's interesting, isn't it? that coming full circle, there's something else that I love about Compost Club is I feel like it's tapping into inner child's play as well. Like we're getting to just hang out with worms and look into microscopes.
I can you know, as my parents say, dirty hands actually mean healthy people. So
like, oh my god, I like paint my nails black because I work in hospitality as well, and I'm like, no one needs to see what's under my nails. They're gonna judge me hard.
His own nails, etc.
I'm like, just let me cover that up so I don't have to wash so much.
So obviously for the generation that possibly maybe watching this video, I'm hoping that people, you know, of all ages watch these kind of videos. If you know, if it was you again in that 13-year-old position where you know, before you didn't have social media, etc., you didn't have these videos to relate to, because we, you know, I'll be doing this as a separate video as a mental health one, because I think it's really important that people kind of relate to these things. If you were going to give any, you know, that 13-year-old you that advice again, with all the tools that you now have, what would you say to her?
It'll be okay. Get your hands in the soil again. Oh god, that's a heavy question, I guess. I mean, I feel like the advice again, I mean, all 13-year-olds have phones now as well. It's the like going out there without your phone. You don't need to document it all, and also like not give yourself a hard time not knowing the names of plants. I feel like there's a generation now as well where understanding the names of plants is amazing. And when people know the Latin names, I'm like, well done, great. You've educated yourself. You don't need to know that. Like, you really don't have to if you're just trying to have a relationship with something. I've definitely witnessed people be like, oh my goodness, what tree is that? And then they're feeling a bit sheepish that they didn't know, or an answer would come back about it being a native English tree. Like, how did you not know that? And this person being like, oh. And it's like, oh no, you don't have to. It's okay. Like, you don't have to know the names of it all. Like, we're all on a learning journey.
So just I think it's more about that disconnection with that, you know, that media on the phone and being more in contact with being present.
Yeah, and I do it all the time. I live in a little caravan on the side of a hill, and we have a little woodland that goes up to a common, and I'll take my phone with me. I'm like, oh, well, if I don't document it, what? I didn't do it.
Happen? Yeah.
And it's so refreshing, like actively going, no, I'm leaving my phone at home, like, and I'm going out, and it makes you, it feels, what do I call it? I called it something the other day, and it made me laugh. Oh, balls, I can't remember what it was. But it was like an honest walk.
Yeah.
It felt like a nude walk.
Yeah. But we live in a society with that's a thing now, isn't it?
Like going out without my phone and taking pictures of the trees I liked and the flowers that I found and the mushrooms that I found. Like, it felt honest and naked, and it was refreshing.
We did a festival recently, me and my wife, because we like our dance festivals, and we did one festival without any phones. Now, I am going to name my wife because she loves to document everything. And I appreciate that because, so my mother-in-law's got dementia. So actually, it's really nice to be able to show her a photo because she says to me on a regular basis, I don't know what I've done. And then she sees herself and then it kind of relates. And there are positives to these things. But that festival that we did without any phones, by far was the most enjoyable thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
It's annoying because obviously, you know, I haven't got anything to document, but actually, how much do we really look at these things afterwards?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a present thing like next day, but actually afterwards, it's not really unless someone's snooping.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I used to, in my teenage years and most of my 20s, I would shoot on film, and I have in my sister's basements and attics all these photo albums documenting that time, and I'm so glad I did it because I can look back at those photo albums, and because of my complex PTSD, my hippocampus part of my brain does not retain memories at all. And more recently Welcome
to my world. Yes.
Oh my god, I've like this past week specifically I've been trying to go for like EMDR therapy because I'm like, I don't remember anything from my 20s. I don't want to go into my 40s and forget my 30s, so I really want to try and sort that out because I use that as an excuse now for taking photos of everything and documenting everything. I'm like, my film camera broke, haven't replaced it, must do this. But it goes to a cloud that I'm probably never going to look at again. Like, let's be real. I don't have time to sit there and go through like an iCloud account and be like, oh, I want to find a memory, but it's actually just screenshots of like bits of writing or text messages people have sent me that I want to gossip about.
And that's the thing is that being very hard. I mean, you know, I'm recording a video review. It's going to go online. It's like being the biggest hypocrite ever. But I do these videos for a reason, because one thing I've noticed is that there's not enough out there telling people how to do stuff, and I feel that we just need some pointers of where we need to go with stuff. And the mental health conversation, I do find sometimes I will put myself in a box in respects to what I feel that I should be in respects to ticking that box. So I'm actually on the massive waiting list for ADHD testing, etc. I'm very aware I'm on that spectrum. Funny enough, people on the spectrum also relate to other people on the spectrum. It's fine. We mould together.
I can't do this work if I wasn't ADHD.
But I do find sometimes that I label stuff, and it's really interesting when you were talking about, obviously, you know, that disconnection and connection with the land, and I feel that we just need every like 1 day a week, just nothing at all.
Oh my God.
You know, so me and my wife do a lot of holidaying in Wales because there's no phone reception. And actually, I don't really know that I'm doing it, but I did it for that reason.
Nice.
And the walks we've done, etc. Obviously, it's normally a pub at the end of it. You know, just sit down and reminisce about stuff. But I feel that needs to be more present with people, and I feel, you know, I appreciate people in urban environments don't have those spaces, etc. And it's really difficult to be able to do it. But when you do have chance, get out in nature and you know, actually live it.
It feels so cliche, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It feels so cliche, but then when you know it and you've done it and you have that connection, you can't really describe it without sounding cliche.
Yeah.
Like, I have family that live in cities that don't really get out, and they think I'm this weird person that is like, oh, she's just doing soil stuff. Like, she's just dirty. Like, they don't get it at all. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think, you know, to end this conversation really is that we're not telling people to do anything really. It's just being aware of, you know, the things that you are as a person. And one thing I love about my job now is that I am definitely me now. I've probably been more me, you know, I'm now 43, but actually I've done that because I've realised that when you put a persona on, you know, especially on digital platforms, etc., everything looks perfect, etc. It's not like that at all, is it? And actually what the soil has taught me is that be proud of the imperfections, because actually, you know, especially in nature, you don't get a straight tree.
Right, yeah.
And actually those imperfections, and that molds you into who you are. So, you know, you've had some experiences, I definitely have had some experiences, but it's good to be able to build on that. And I feel that, I'm not saying that people should all have those experiences, because that's not what I'm saying, but I feel that, you know, it gives you those foundations of being able to want to learn more.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, also the disconnect from like we are a part of the ecosystem, like we are it. Like, when people disconnect ourselves from that, oh God, it just kind of goes into capitalism and all that kind of stuff as well. That it's so challenging. Like, I don't know, like the relationship people have to food as well is concerning, and it's worrying. And I'm not here to say that like I've done a PhD in this stuff, because I haven't, but it's obvious. It's so obvious when I witness people, mainly like family members, who are so unwell and are so sick, and they don't get outside at all. They eat processed ham and chicken nuggets all the time, every day. And it's like, and then when me and my younger sister go and see them, they freak out because they're like, oh, one of them's vegan and the other one doesn't eat ham. Like, what are we supposed to feed them? And it becomes like we're the odd ones for wanting to eat local produce. I had a friend actually ages ago who.
But you feel better for it though, do you?
For
like,
what?
For not eating processed food.
Oh yeah.
Because poor little microbes in there are being fed by you, so you're controlling them.
Yeah, I feel great. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm like, sometimes I'll have a chicken nugget, like, like, I'm not judging people that, like, do eat that way at all. Like, you do you, but, like, don't judge me for doing what I do. I had a friend at the beginning of the year just be like, oh, what have you been up to today? And I was like, oh, I just spent £70 on seeds. And she was like, what? That's so much money to spend on seeds. Like, why would you do that? And I was like, well, then I don't have to buy food for the rest of the year. Like, I'm saving a lot of money. And also then I know where my food has come from. And that's so important.
And going back to the whole 13-year-old me, my parents were all about processed food. 80s, 90s, bringing, and you know, I look at my food intake. I was, you know, I was at my biggest, I was 19 stone. You know, I'm not exactly a small lad now, but actually, my mental health and that food relation, food for me was a comfort. So I spent most of my time gorging on things. It came from my mum, because my mum had the same problem, unfortunately. So she was a larger lady, and she had osteoarthritis, crumble of the bones, etc. And she just kind of wrote herself off. And you look at it now, and I think about that process is that it wasn't really her fault. Like it was my grandma was allotment, etc. And then there was this crash of like the 80s and 90s of all this processed stuff, because it was, you know, easier to do stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, like cooking for me, I love cooking. I generally like the whole process. You know, if I can go to my, you know, my vegetable garden, I don't have as good a vegetable garden as I would love to have, but you know, it's time or anything else. But actually, you know, that the whole process of processing that food, etc., and you know, putting it into a thing. And I feel that 13-year-old me just would like some of that guidance really back then, of actually, if I ate well, then I would have felt well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not taught to us, so no one teaches you about that kind of stuff.
And I feel that we just need to be in that society now. I'm looking at the government now in respects to, you know, the future of our country. Not too much of politics, but you know, we just need to think about like what are the core values that we want to bring our children up in.
Yeah.
And I feel that food and soil relationship is by far the most important part of any education system. You imagine a society where you're teaching kids how to grow something from a seed and not being, I don't know, I remember growing stuff from a seed and getting my little seedling, and then it goes home and then it just died. Because actually, you know, I was taught about photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Which we all know now, it's not just light, and living soil makes a lot of difference, and microorganisms and mycorrhizae, etc., all really important. But actually, if we could get that into schools, that little bit of education, I feel that we would definitely make a difference to it. So, thank you very much for today. It's been amazing. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you soon on another podcast.
Thanks for visiting.
Thank you. Cool.